All right guys, so today in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you exactly how one of my clients went from $30,000 per month to $122,000 in projected revenue in 30 days. All right, so he was doing about 30K a month with an average deal size of 7K. And so when I look at this, I see a huge opportunity because 7K is not very good. Another thing to note in this 30K a month business was his contract to close rate was very low. We're talking like 30%. So 30% of his contracts were closing. You guys all know that's not that great, but it's because he was doing a virtual nationwide model and at the time it made sense, right? Here's 30K, 7K per deal, 30%. From my perspective, when I look at this, I have a couple questions that I think could be going on. It's one, what is the ACT team doing? And then two, what does your lead gen look like? And so I'm gonna break down lead gen first. I'm gonna break down ACT team second. All right, so his lead gen, he was using PPL, cold call, and SMS. He had many different channels. When he was doing these three channels, he was also operating in like 5 different markets. So he was in like South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and he had some deals in other places, just like random places. So, and the reason for this is because the way he was running his PPL was for the lowest CPL, cost per lead. He was trying to get the lowest cost per lead. And what this was doing was this was pulling down and getting us a lot of random places, a lot of things in these markets that were super in the boonies that didn't work. And that's why we were canceling so many deals. And the other reason why the deal size was so low was because these properties, the average price was like, somewhere between 50 and 100K. And so it's really hard to make 30 grand on a house that's worth 50. It's just really hard. You're taking most of the profit in the deal. So it's almost impossible. And so what I really wanted to do was I really wanted to dive in to see what we were doing here, where our revenue was coming from, and I'm gonna show you exactly what we did to find that, and then like how we took that information to then basically improve our marketing. All right, so here's what we did to basically break down the numbers to figure out which market was working the best. We took each state, we did state by state. So, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, he was also doing Florida and some other places, right? We took each state and we broke them out in a very basic number. We had our number of offers, we had our number of contracts, deals, and then we did revenue and expenses. And basically we broke it out this way. And what we found roughly, these are rough numbers because I don't have them right in front of me, is that offer to contract in Georgia was really good. Contract to sold deal was really good. Revenue and expenses were really good. So most of our revenue was here and not most of our revenue or most of our expenses were here. So basically for the entire company, let's just use simple numbers. We had about $100,000 of recorded income. This is not the actual number, but this is what we'll use for the math perspective because the percentages are what matter. We had 100K of total revenue. 90K came from Georgia. Literally basically all of it. How much do you think we spent in Georgia relative to every other market? Well, we spent about the same in each market. So if we were spending, let's just say $25,000 a month, let's call it 24 because it's easy math. We were spending 6K in each market total for the 100K. And then we split up the rest of the 10 grand basically across these other markets. And that was literally what was happening. So we had like 2K, this is all relative, right? But basically you can see we were losing money in these markets and we were making lots of money in this market. And the reason for that was because this money was extremely well spent in Georgia. Whereas over here, what was going on was some of the areas in these markets were doing really well, but not all of them. Most of them were getting really rural leads. So what we did on PPL, and this is very contrary to popular belief, but we raised our cost per lead. We said, hey dude, let's spend more money for leads. And it's not how you think. We were spending more money on the good areas because we determined that in order for this to actually work and for us to make money, it was more effective and we got a way better ROI if we spent, instead of spending like, let's just say $100 per lead for a lead, we then started spending like $250. I know you guys are gonna be like, wow, that's crazy. Why would you 2.5x the cost of your leads, the cost of your marketing? It's because these leads would get us big deals. We could make $30,000 from these leads from 1 in 10. So we'd spend, we could spend somewhere between 3 to 6K and that would make us 30. Whereas on this one, we'd end up having to spend around the same number, 3 to 6K. And then that would make us like I said, 7K. So we were getting a very small ROI over here. And all of the work in your business comes from volume. Most of you guys have been watching my YouTube channel for quite a while now and probably know that I have an accelerator program that's made for people who want to pay to grow their business faster. And after working with over 150 clients in the last 2 years, what we've done is we've redone the entire product so that we've been able to streamline success for our clients. And this new streamlined product in the first 3 months has created 7 businesses to hit their first $100,000 per month. And so since we've helped over 150 clients scale their wholesale business to multiple 6 and multiple 7 figures per year, we've been able to really really see what works. And we just redesigned our entire product to create a copy and paste system that our clients are using to scale their businesses extremely quickly. There's gonna be things like, getting KPIs installed, getting your sales process going, having the MLS strategy installed, hiring an admin, hiring a lead manager, how to onboard these people, and just having a copy and paste system. And then we also are gonna take you through getting your financials in order so you have a lot of clarity on like what your business actually does. So you're not stressed on how you spend money and where the marketing money goes and when's it coming back and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna take you through exactly how to hire a copy and paste strategy on how to hire your first acquisition manager, because I know that's the hardest part of business is getting yourself out of that sales seat. So we take you through that, how to onboard that person, etc. How to do the same thing for dispo, how to do the same thing for TC, whatever it may be. And then obviously there's plenty of other like straight up copy and paste SOPs that you would get as part of the program. And these copy and paste SOPs will change the foundation and the infrastructure of your business forever. And basically the entire goal is to pair you guys with a one-on-one coach who actually does the business at a very high level, that they're able to help you implement these things perfectly in your business. That's going to make the difference for you being where you're at to where you want to be. And so I'll keep it brief, but if this is something that you are remotely interested in and how we would scale your company to $100,000 per month, allowing you to work less, then all you need to do is go down below this video, click the link below, fill out some brief info, and show up to that call. With that being said, we will hop right back into the video. So your leverage point in a wholesale business is your deal size. And so we literally took the deal size from 7 and we focused on here. And then the deal size that we have projected now, if I remember perfectly correct, is 22.5K for our projected $122,000. So, it doesn't take a rocket science to know that, hey, if we triple deal size, we can triple the business without doing any more deals. And that's exactly what happened, is we didn't do any more volume, but we just made way bigger deals. So we went from 7K to 22K. And so that was one key lever that allowed us to make this huge change. Now, the other piece of it is dispo. And this is the other pain point that we were having. And one of the reasons why we were having such a struggle to actually scale the company is because the owner of the company, his time was completely strapped. So he had an acquisitions team, he has a dispo team, he has all the people in place that he has hired, but he had to run dispo. So he was responsible for all the dispo, and he just hired a dispo person, so he was training them, but he couldn't get any deals actually sold. Like, he was getting tons of contracts, but none of them were selling. Very few of them, enough to do 30K until now. But what we had to do was we had to take a look at this and say, hey, why are 3 of 10 contracts selling? Because in my view, dispo should be really easy. If dispo is not easy, that means you're doing the business wrong. Because at least this is what my dad always told me. He said, you make money when you buy. And so if you make money when you buy and you're buying high, then you're not making any money. And so what we did was we installed a couple things. One, we set the standard that we're going to only lock up good deals. So not only did we, before we even do this, we've already gotten all the lead flow to be perfect in the business. So now we know every single lead that's in the system that's coming in that's new is exactly the type of property we want, the exactly type of lead we want, and it's in a location that we really like. And so we know we can convert them to leads. And so now we got to make sure we're locking them up at good prices so we can, one, increase our deal size and make sure that follows through. But on the other hand, we need to make sure that we're locking up good deals so we can actually sell them, because who wants to promise 10 sellers that we can sell their property but then only convert on 3? I mean, I don't personally. That's a horrible conversation. So what we did was we did a couple things. The first thing we did was we set an extreme standard for the deals that we lock up. So we set an extreme standard to make sure every contract was good. And so what happened was, and he texted me this and I said, and this is how it actually works. So we set an extreme standard for how every contract works. Here's how it actually works is you have an acquisition guy, he locks up a deal. When he sends it to you, one, you should have an approval system on comping and make sure they're actually locking up at the right price. But nonetheless, when they send a contract to you that's actually a signed property, is if it's not a deal, just kick it back and tell them to get it at a price that is a deal. And so what happened was, as soon as he told me this, he went and implemented it. He then texted me the next day, hey, my acquisition guy locked up a deal and it was a little bit too high. So I told him to go get it 30 grand lower, and then he went and got it 30 grand lower, and now we're gonna make 30 grand on the deal. That just goes to show that if you offer too high, if you have your numbers wrong and you don't negotiate right, then there's deals out there that you can make 30, 40, 50 grand on. But if you don't know how to comp, you get too emotionally wrapped up, you don't know how to negotiate, you offer too high, you don't follow the process, then you can leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table just by not offering lower and negotiating harder. Because there's a lot of people who, and the way that I look at this is it's like anything else. It's like you get the deepest discount for everyone that they allow you to get. If someone's gonna allow you to get $50,000 of a discount and you only get a 30K discount, I believe you did a bad job. And so when I look at negotiation, I see it on 2 lines. I see what's the maximum you can get, and then what's the most we can pay, basically. And obviously the more motivation we have, the bigger this gap becomes. And so a great salesperson, if you're a great negotiator, is going to be able to get further on this line of the max discount that we can get. And so our job as sales directors, sales managers, as business owners in the wholesale business is to get the contract locked up as close to this max discount as possible. right? And we're never gonna be perfect. You never can expect a max discount every time. But what I tell my team is, if you can get the discount, then get the discount. Like if you know someone can go lower, then go lower. Because if you don't, yes, you're doing okay, and maybe, but we're leaving money on the table. And so, in my opinion, the most we can pay, let's say, is a 30K fee. But then someone now allows us to make 60K. Well, if we only make 45, we did okay, but we didn't do as good as we should have. And there's a lot of room for improvement right here. From the way that we negotiate, the way that we build rapport, the way that we dive into motivation, all the different things that go into it. That's what we're trying to maximize for. And so a lot of times what I see salespeople do is they're like, oh my gosh, like I gotta be, the most we can pay is 30. And then they come in and they start at 30 because they don't offer lower, or they just start there in general. And then we end up over here. We end up paying more than we can pay. And we do a disservice to the sellers because either we can't convert in by making 10K because something happens on the back end, or we just make 10K and it's not as good, right? So that's like what we're trying to avoid. And so that's why we need an extreme standard for every contract to be great. And so this is huge. This is a huge piece of it. And if you don't do this, then you're leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table, and it's overall just gonna cause your business a huge havoc. And so that's what you have to make sure you do. The way that you actually do that is through leadership and some other things, which I made another video on leadership. But generally speaking, is anytime you're gonna do a change, and I'm actually just talking, I'll just go ahead and let's go into it actually, because I think this is valuable for everyone. Is anytime I'm gonna make a change in my business, you can't just make the changes. No one's gonna want to like just completely 180 what they're doing for no reason at all, just randomly. Most people are gonna have change resistance. And so the way I coached this client through how to overcome the change resistance is by expectations. So leadership is the exact same thing as sales when you're getting a seller to say yes. And so if you don't understand leadership, you don't understand business, and it's something that you have to do if you want to maximize your performance. So I was talking to one of my buddies too, who he's a big multifamily guy. He has a team of project managers and asset managers that he's like working with. He's like talking about like how to actually get through to them, because he's coming into a new department and trying to take over and like fix it all, right? And he's trying to change it, but he's like getting a lot of resistance. This is the same thing that was going to happen for my client when he went to have all of this change with the way the process works, with the way the leads work, and with everything from his lead managers to his acquisition guys to his dispo guys on what the new process is going to be. And so what I like to do is, if you're going to change, you're going to have a change process. And so the way the change process works is, first you must let everyone know about the change and the outcome you're hoping to have happen from the change. New outcome. Once you establish the new outcome, you lay out the plan for how that outcome is going to work. Once you lay out the plan for how you plan to do to achieve this outcome, the third thing is you ask your team for what they think about it. What do y'all think? And then in this third phase, you're going to get objections. You're going to get people who object to your current overall plan, to the change itself, and you're going to overcome a lot of resistance here. In the third phase, you have to fully hear out your team, and you have to fully get them committed to making the change. You need to tell them that, hey, we're going to be changing a lot, and I'm going to be honestly, a kind of a prick, like really stickler about this new process that we're doing, because we're trying to increase our profit for a company, increase our average deal size, increase our close rate, or make you more money, whatever it is, tie it to them. It needs to be a goal, a metric you guys are all working towards. And so if you have that in place, you get their buy-in, you have no objections, you have a rock solid plan, they're all on the same outcome, then do you think you're gonna have any problems when you actually go to hold them accountable, to make sure that they implement it, to actually get this done? No, you're not. Of course not. Because they're already committed to your plan and they're committed to the outcome. But that's why you have to do the third step. If you don't do the third step, then you're gonna run into lots of issues and your team's gonna be really upset, they're not gonna know what's going on, and they're gonna be confused. And if you have a big team, it could unravel everything, and honestly that's how your team leaves, and you have to hire a lot and you have a lot of churn and people leave. And so this is why you have to set the expectations of the new outcome, set the expectations of the plan so they know exactly what that roadmap is going to look like, and then you have to ask for their input. Hear it out. Maybe you take their input, maybe you don't, but you got to do that if you want to get them committed. And so once you have a bought in, then you can do the change and you can implement this. All right guys, so if you want our help on scaling your wholesale company from $15, $30, $50 to $100,000, $200,000, whatever it is per month, hire acquisitions, delegate your business out, really just gain that consistency, then all you need to do is go down below this video, click the link below, fill out some brief info, and hop on a call with our team, and we'll show you how this would work for you specifically. If not, then enjoy the videos, and I will see you guys in the next one.